In the dark, fog-drenched streets of 19th-century San Francisco, a city of gold, greed, and chaos, one man rose above the corruption, the violence, and the despair. Not as a politician, not as a soldier, not even as a king, but as something far stranger. He called himself Emperor Norton I, Emperor of the United States and Protector of Mexico. Was he insane? Or was he a genius who saw truths others could not? Tonight we dive into the unbelievable, haunting story of the man who became a legend not through conquest or wealth, but through sheer will, imagination, and the desperate hope of a broken city. The story begins not in America, but in England, 1818. Joshua Abraham Norton was born into a Jewish family, ordinary by all accounts. But his father dreamed bigger, and soon the Nortons sailed to South Africa. There, Joshua learned business, money, and ambition. By the 1840s, he inherited wealth and with it the desire to expand. He was bold, clever, and restless, and when he heard of the golden fortunes being made in California, he crossed the seas again, arriving in San Francisco in 1849, right at the dawn of the gold rush. San Francisco was not the glamorous city we know today. It was filthy, lawless, a place where fortunes rose and collapsed overnight. But Norton thrived. He became a successful businessman, worth nearly $250,000, a fortune for the time. But then came the deal that would destroy him. In 1852, a rice famine struck China. The price of rice in San Francisco soared from 4 cents a pound to over 36. Norton saw an opportunity. He invested every cent he had in a shipment from Peru. But when the ships arrived, more rice flooded the market than expected. Prices collapsed overnight. Norton lost everything. Bankrupt, humiliated, shattered. For most men, that would have been the end. But for Norton, it was just the beginning of something no one could have imagined. 3 years later, in 1859, a strange announcement appeared in the San Francisco Daily Evening Bulletin. At the peremptory request and desire of a large majority of the citizens of these United States, I, Joshua Norton, declare myself Emperor of the United States. People laughed. Some mocked him. Others pitied him. But Norton didn't waver. He walked the streets of San Francisco wearing a blue military uniform, adorned with golden epaulets and a feathered hat. He carried a sword at his side. He was no longer Joshua Norton, failed businessman. He was Emperor Norton I. And something extraordinary happened. The city played along. Emperor Norton began issuing decrees, handwritten proclamations that newspapers gleefully published. He dissolved the United States Congress, accusing it of corruption. He demanded that both the Democratic and Republican parties be abolished. He called for a League of Nations, decades before the United Nations would ever exist. And most famously, he ordered the construction of a bridge connecting San Francisco and Oakland. At the time, people dismissed it as madness. But today, that bridge exists. We call it the Bay Bridge. Madman or prophet? What makes Norton's story chilling is not just his self-declared empire, but how the people of San Francisco embraced it. Police officers saluted him on the street. Theaters reserved the best seats for him. Restaurants fed him for free. He printed his own money, Norton dollars, and businesses accepted them. When a policeman once arrested him, claiming Norton was insane, the city reacted with outrage. The police chief quickly ordered his release, and instructed his men to always honor the emperor. From then on, Norton had the law on his side. He became a living legend, both a joke and a symbol of unity in a divided city. Some said Norton had lost his mind after his bankruptcy, retreating into fantasy to escape reality. Others argued he was a visionary, who created an empire of imagination that gave people hope in a corrupt and collapsing world. But beneath the eccentricity was tragedy. Norton lived in poverty. His uniform was donated. His so-called empire existed only in the laughter and kindness of strangers. Yet still, he ruled with dignity. He inspected sidewalks. He wrote decrees against racism. He even banned the word Frisco, demanding people call his city by its full name, San Francisco. On a cold January evening in 1880, Emperor Norton collapsed on the corner of California and Grant Street. Within minutes, he was dead. When word spread, San Francisco mourned like never before. Newspapers across the nation carried the news: "Le roi est mort, the king is dead." At his funeral, more than 10,000 people followed his casket. Nobles, beggars, politicians, police officers, children all marched together to honor the strange man who, in his own way, had been their emperor. Today, Emperor Norton remains a haunting mystery. Was he insane, or was he a man who understood something deeper about power, unity, and imagination? He left no wealth, no kingdom, no heirs, only a story. A story that forces us to ask what truly makes a ruler: crowns and armies? Or belief and imagination? Perhaps Norton was no madman at all. Perhaps he was the only emperor America ever truly had.